Ryo Marufuji, also called the Kaiser, but commonly known as Zane Truesdale, is one of the most beloved characters out of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. He deserves that popularity for multiple reasons, be it his super iconic Cyber Dragons that changed the TCG with its release, or the Cyber End Dragon which gave Yugioh his first demolishing loss in the show. He also was a good-natured character that dueled just out of passion to dueling, but there was also an important change of character when the Kaiser lost to Ero Phoenix and evolved into the Hell Kaiser with a new edgy, darker look who took dueling more serious than anything else. Ryo just appealed to everybody by being both a good happy boy but also a serious dark boy, and just being one of the best duelists with a fan favorite deck archetype besides that. All of those points made me love him since my childhood, and so he became my favorite GX character together with Johan. Who is your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! GX character? Tell me in the comments below. Anyways, to finally get to the main topic of this video, how did Ryo turn from being the good-hearted Kaiser into being the cold-hearted Hell Kaiser? And was he even evil to begin with? That's what we will talk about now. Ryo was the peak duelist of Duel Academy, who inspired most of the students around, thus being called the Kaiser, which just means as much as the Emperor in German. He had respect for everybody and even acknowledged Yugioh after defeating him. Yugioh fought his way up so good that Kaiser wanted to duel him for his final duel on Duel Academy. To graduate from Duel Academy to the Pro League, you need to participate in a final ceremonial graduation duel in front of the whole academy. Kaiser chose to get a rematch against Yugioh since he fought his way up as a highly acknowledged duelist, and so we got a legendary duel that had ended in a draw between those two Duel Academy legends. Yugioh called Ryo out for being perfect, while Ryo just says that perfection means to reach a limit, meaning that the Kaiser is already at his peak, while Yugioh can still outgrow him with his infinite potential. But still, even after all that time, he won't lose to anybody. That is until he joined the Pro League. Kaiser still dominated the Pro League with 10 consecutive wins at the beginning, but that was just until he stood in front of Ero Phoenix, who defeated him using elemental heroes. Ero provoked Kaiser to a point he got too mad to realize that Ero had already set a card on the field that would defeat the Kaiser. That loss would turn out as the beginning of a downward spiral. He lost one duel after another and lost his Pro League contract due to that. Everybody looked down at him, and Kaiser didn't know how to keep going. He still wanted to have a fun time dueling, but that was robbed from him more and more. That was when he got invited into an underground duel place where he shall duel against the Mad Dog. That duel, together with the shock amplifiers both got, drove Kaiser into a corner where he wasn't able to accomplish anything in a respectful way. His underground promoter forced Kaiser to just look at the win. Without victory, you can't survive. At that point, he realized that he was lying to himself since he lost to Ero. As long as he could respect his opponent in a duel, it shouldn't matter if you win or lose. That's what he was thinking. But in reality, he was thirsting for victory. Kaiser threw his way of dueling respectfully away and took the road of winning, the road of hell, to succeed at exactly that, taking the victory he needed. He used Overload Fusion for the first time and summoned his first Dark Attribute Fusion monster in Chimera Tech Overdragon, representing how he started to walk his path of darkness and becoming the Hell Kaiser from now on. As Hell Kaiser, he is fighting his way back to the top of the Pro League and gets called the disrespectful duelist killer, which is visualized by him destroying his opponents so hard that they could get hospitalized. Ryo later on visited the Cyber Dragon dojo again to duel against his master of the cyber art, Samejima. Samejima wants to guide the Hell Kaiser back to the respectful route, while Ryo just wanted the secret reverse deck of the cyber art, the Cyber Ducks. The Cyber Dragons were the yin, and he wanted to try the yang deck, as in Cyber Ducks, because his motives also flipped from the Yin Kaiser to the Yang Hell Kaiser. As soon as Ryo won that duel, he made clear that he isn't lost to darkness or anything like that. He can still feel the heart of the cards and his opponents, but he goes that route to achieve pure victory, which is everything he needs. He takes the Cyber Dark deck with him and wants to give it a try at Duel Academy's Genex tournament. And just as the Ryo's master Samejima wanted to rescue him from the darkness, so would his best friend Fubuki, better known as Atticus, also try to rescue him, since he knows at best how it feels like being consumed by darkness. But that duel shows again that Ryo wasn't lost to darkness. He willingly walks this way to achieve the ultimate victories. The funny thing about his duel was that Ryo rescued Fubuki out of his darkness state instead. After crushing darkness out of Fubuki and showing him that he isn't imprisoned in it, Ryo starts to smile for a short amount, which shows us that Ryo is still the good-hearted person we know. He just goes the darker way, which doesn't mean that he himself needs to be dark. He may duel disrespectful, but he does still respect the opponent, be it his best friend or darkness itself. Ryo meets Edo later on again, and everybody was assured that Hell Kaiser wants his revenge on Edo for being his first loss and the start of his downward spiral. But that wasn't the case at all. Even though he would have no problem dueling Edo, it just isn't something he desires. He just wants to win and is assured to do so, no matter if it's against Edo or his little brother Sho, better known as Cyrus, who wants to defeat Ryo at all cost. They dueled using the shock amplifiers he used in the underground duels. Being shocked by them remembers Ryo what a duel really is. A fight between two people where someone has to end up as the winner while the other one will be the loser. He is interested to see how Sho will evolve under these circumstances. Will he join that hellish way or stay on his own and keep dueling respectfully till the end? It ended with Sho losing but keeping his respectful way of dueling, which made him the true Kaiser in Judai's eyes. Ryo leaves the Genex tournament after defeating some other duelists. We don't see him for a good amount of time afterwards until a bit into season 3. To connect the dimension of the duel monsters with our regular dimension, they needed to produce a high amount of duel energy. Johan was the chosen one for the other dimension side. They thought Edo would be the best choice in the original dimension, but Edo himself said that Hell Kaiser would be the better choice since his lust for victory will produce even more duel energy. That's how we get to the duel between Ryo and Johan. Ryo couldn't wait to see what happens if the mighty Cyber Art would end up fighting the also mighty Crystal Beasts. Ryo sees the similarities between Johan and Judai and tells Johan to show him if he has the same infinite potential Judai has. The duel started and Ryo pulled every string. He summoned all of his boss monsters, Chimera Tech Over Dragon, Cyber Dark Dragon and the Cyber End Dragon. Just one attack of his Cyber Dark was enough to loosen up the gateway between both dimensions, and they both were able to open the gateway completely whenever Ryo attacks Johan's Ember Mammoth, with Cyber End Dragon both having 5600 attack points due to couple circumstances. This duel again showed that Hell Kaiser still enjoys a great duel, since he didn't just wanna win against Johan but wanted Johan to give it his best. This again shows that Ryo didn't become a heartless duelist. Well, heartless is kinda a difficult word in that situation, since Ryo started getting some critical heart problems. He knew for himself that he couldn't go much longer with that condition, which makes him search for a final appropriate opponent to defeat at the end. And that one person shall be Yubel, the highest level spirit of the Duel Monsters world. Whenever Judai was about to go through a dimensional portal to search for Johan, Ryo and Edo were watching him to see where his journey goes. I wonder what happened behind the scenes between Edo and Ryo, since they act like they became kinda close homies without really acknowledging it. Anyways, Ryo shows yet again how well he understands other people. He says that Judai just doesn't understand the responsibility he has for other people. Edo answers that he thinks it's the other way around, since Judai does all that just because he feels responsible for Johan missing in the Duel Monsters dimension. Hell Kaiser just calls Edo out as being as childish as Judai for thinking that. Ryo's interpretation ends up to be true, since Judai's influence onto all of his friends is the responsibility he doesn't understand. Of course all of his friends will join him to search for Johan, and Judai was the only one not realizing that he will take the responsibility for bringing them with him into that danger. Hell Kaiser just wonders at the end what consequences that beautiful friendship of Judai will bring to him, which is an insane foreshadowing of what was about to happen to Judai whenever he becomes the Supreme King. That is something that couldn't really happen to the current Ryo, since he is well enough distance from other people. He still has his respect and helps out if necessary, but he will stay close to his goal of achieving victory and the final duel that he wishes for. Shortly after Judai became the Supreme King, Ryo meets up with his little brother Sho, who was in danger in running away from Judai. Ryo saved Sho and waited for him to wake up since he was unconscious. After hearing that Judai was responsible for the death of Manjome, who is better known as Chaz, Ryo just asks if Judai will remain a child to the end, going back to his previous statement of his responsibility. Since Sho was ready to face Ryo in the past but is now fleeing from Judai, Ryo realized that the whole Judai has left inside Sho must be bigger than the one he himself left onto him. He indirectly encourages Sho to keep going and staying by Judai's side, while he makes himself on his way to find his final opponent, which yet again shows the respectful side of Kaiser, that he pushed his brother forwards instead of going straight for Yubel, even though his heart conditions got worse. Together with Edo, he asked for information about the Supreme King, if he really is Judai and what his plans are. Ryo was truly shocked that Judai would possess such a deep-going darkness inside his heart. After all of that, he tries to find out the truth about everything that has happened to Judai right now and to save him. After the rescue of Judai was successful, Ryo wanted to ask him some things, but he couldn't due to Judai's health condition being really bad at the time. In a chat with Edo, Ryo talks about that he would have really liked to duel the Supreme King once before he was gone, so he could fulfill his dream of an ultimate duel. A short time later, Ryo felt that Judai wasn't himself anymore and couldn't save anyone in that state. He challenged him into a duel and showed clearly how Judai had ways to counter his strategies, but Judai didn't at all. He saw his fusion card and was traumatized again. After realizing that Judai won't activate any fusion cards, Hell Kaiser gets so mad that his heart stops beating for a short time. If Judai won't play any fusion cards, then he wouldn't use super fusion to fight the one controlling this world, which he needs to do. Yet again, Ryo shows that he still does things for other people he cares for, even though he himself denies it. He wants Judai to defeat the number one of this dimension, even though it is Ryo's sole goal to duel the best opponent he can get. After Kronos or Dr. Crowler said that Ryo did all of that just to lead Judai back to the right path, Ryo denies it and says that he doesn't have such generous motives, which as you can see is clearly the case. Even after Kronos tried to motivate Ryo into keep surviving, Ryo himself said that he remembered his true objective from that, which is to fight his ultimate final enemy. That implies that he was fighting for others again instead for his own reason. But Hell Kaiser can now fulfill his final duty because Yubel showed up in Johann's body and both are getting ready for one of the best duels in all of Yu-Gi-Oh history. He still had to end his duel with Johann that got interrupted in the past, and he himself said that Johann and Judai are the only ones who can make Ryo feel such an excitement. Now he can fight Johann and Yubel in one for the ultimate fulfillment of his goals. During that legendary duel, Ryo freed himself from his obsession to achieve victory. He wandered through hell as the Hell Kaiser, and now he won't feel joy for winning nor fear for losing. He wants to shine in that moment and wants that very moment to be immortalized. He wants to take Yubel with him in this duel and free Johann from the pain to save the world and immortalize the proof that he was alive. That's what his joy of the moment is for. Kaiser shows in the end his perfected way of dueling and gives it all he can to symbolize Judai that even if Ryo loses here, Judai can still surpass that with his unlimited potential. The Kaiser walked so Judai could run. That duel ended with an outshining loss for Kaiser, but he exhausted Yubel so much that they needed a break, and with that, Ryo Marufuji dies, telling Judai that he shall outshine him now. Unless he doesn't actually die. A weird topic on its own, and that's why I plan to make a separate video about that in future. But anyways, after the world was saved and some time passed, we see that Ryo is hospitalized in a wheelchair since he flooded back to the Duel Academy at one day. Ryo lives now unappreciating life and doesn't strive for victory or anything like that. He achieved his ultimate duel that he could never beat, and so he doesn't duel for himself anymore. But he plans to keep going since his deck is still lusting for duels. Sho couldn't let Ryo do that because of his health conditions, and so he took Kaiser's deck and mixed it with his own to achieve an even greater cyber style. Ryo himself says that Sho has surpassed him now. That topic itself will also be its own video in future. Yes, I plan on doing a lot of Kaiser content. As I said, he's one of my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh characters. Anyways, Ryo gives his deck to Sho and wants to start a new own deck from scratch, reawakening his inner duelist again, realizing that he himself as well as duels and duelists have still the potential to evolve. He wants to create his own pro league now together with Sho. And that is the happy ending of one of the most legendary duelists to this date. Ryo started off as Kaiser who respected everybody and everything, reaching his own peak until he gets broken by Edo, where he realized that he actually wants to win instead of just having fun in a duel. Two sides of competitive players we all know, those who do everything for the sake of winning and those who are doing everything out of fun. Ryo went through both stages as Kaiser and Hell Kaiser later on. But in reality, he was still helping out others and showing a lot of respect, even though he went through darkness. He achieved his goal of having the ultimate final duel with his perfected style, but once noticed that over after realizing that he himself can also still evolve into an untapped potential. And thus he tries to create a pro league together with his little brother Sho. I originally wanted to talk about if Ryo's Hell Kaiser side was truly evil, which it obviously isn't, as I have explained in the whole video, but it turned out into a completed analysis and history check of Kaiser's development. I hope you still enjoyed watching this video. If it was the case, then don't forget to subscribe and like this video, since I have put a lot of time and work into this video. Tell me in the comments below what you think about Zane Truesdale, Ryo Marufuji, Kaiser or Hell Kaiser. Have a great day and we see us on my next video. Bye!